Welcome back to Election Projections 2016 Election Update Series. Last week actually happened to be my 50th birthday, and my family had a wonderful celebration for me, and my son and my daughter-in-law and my grandkids flew all the way across country to be with me that week. So I wasn't able to get a video posted last week. But this week, we're continuing our series by looking back at the Super Tuesday 2 elections held 3 days ago. On the Democratic side, we saw Hillary Clinton continuing her ways of winning about 60% of the delegates at state. She won all 5 of the contests that were held that day, and she now has a 324 delegate lead in the pledged delegates. Now that number is a little bit misleading because she also leads 231 to 17 among the superdelegates that are unbound. So Hillary Clinton is, as I've said before, she is going to win the Democratic nomination. She is going to take her vast African American advantage among that vote, as well as the superdelegate advantage that she has, and she's going to win the nomination. Take that to the bank. Now, on the Republican side, Super Tuesday 2 was a very good night for Donald Trump. He was able to win Florida. A delegate-rich Florida has 99 delegates. He beat Marco Rubio there. He also won in Illinois. He won a plurality in Missouri and in North Carolina. The only disappointment for him was Ohio, where Governor John Kasich was able to win there. And he was able to capture the 66 delegates from the Buckeye State. So now let's look forward to the Republican National Convention in July and see where we stand. It's clear that Donald Trump is the leader. He's the front runner and the odds-on favorite to win the nomination. Ted Cruz is clearly number 2. He's clearly in second, and he's clearly also the only threat to Donald Trump's nomination. But Trump is not a shoo-in to win the nomination, especially not to get to the majority of delegates he'll need before the convention, which is 1,237. To track his progress, I've created a fun tool on the website. And because I'm not really a Trump fan and I don't want him to reach that majority before the convention, I've called it the Stop Trump-O-Meter. So basically it takes a set of criteria that I've come up with to project how many delegates Trump might win in the states that still remain on the primary schedule. When I created it before Super Tuesday 2, his projected delegate total was 1,148, which is 89 votes short of the majority. After Super Tuesday 2, because Kasich was able to win in Ohio, and Cruz was able to win delegates in Illinois and in Missouri, that number has dropped 107 delegates down to 1,041. So we'll see how this progresses as we move forward through states, important states like Arizona and Pennsylvania, on our way to the biggest delegate prize of all in California on June 7th. Now, to close this update, I'd like to touch on perhaps the most important development out of the Super Tuesday 2 elections, and that is that Marco Rubio, fresh off a humiliating defeat in his home state of Florida, suspended his campaign. Now, the word suspend here is very important, it's pivotal, because it has an impact on how the status of Marco Rubio's delegates. Next week, in my update, I'm going to dedicate it to a discussion about not only Marco Rubio's delegates, but also the procedure in place for arriving at a nominee for the GOP in the case that no one has the majority of delegates once we get to the convention. One of the questions I'm going to tackle is very important. It's the difference between a contested convention and a brokered convention. So I think you'll find that very informative and interesting. So be sure to stay tuned, tune in for that. So before I go, I just want to mention again, I hope that you'll subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and I hope that you will share this video with your friends on social media. I'll talk to you next week.